My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo Taking Release.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's GOLO.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who have found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's GOLO.com. Again, GOLO.com.
1, 2, 3, go.
BooBaes. BooBaes. Hi.
Hello.
It's us.
It's us, your BooBaes.
BooBaes.
I am Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And we're your host for this super fun, spectacular, spooktacular, fun.
Fearful.
Fear. F-I-E-R.
Or F-I-E-R. Oh, wait. F-E-A-R.
I was like, wait, we just said the same thing.
But I heard it. You got what I mean.
We were on the same
pun.
wavelength. I loved it. Well, okay. So apparently, I got out of I texted this to you and Mike in our chat. But apparently that was like a wild fan.
Was it?
Yeah, like a fan in the wild, not like a crazy.
Yeah.
Wild fan. But I got out of my car to come record here, and then all of a sudden I was like trying to open my door, and then someone's yelling, "I love the BooBaes podcast!"
That's
and I was
fun.
like, "Oh, thank you."
That's so cool.
I was so shout out to
they were leaving or something, or
yeah, it was one of the students next door, and I guess Corey had told her like he was waiting for her parent.
That's a BooBaes.
Yeah, and so she was like, "Why didn't you ask about this car if it was my parent?" And he said that, well, that's Caitlin, and then he was like, she does a podcast, BooBaes, and she was like, I listen to that podcast, and he was like,
that's so fun.
No, you don't.
Shout out to whoever you are.
Yeah,
who yelled at Caitlin.
We should have asked her. I should have asked her.
Shout out.
But shout out to you.
Thank you for listening.
I really appreciate it. And then also, while we're just on this page of shout outs, so I finally reached out to Courtney. She was our first review.
She was?
She was.
Okay.
So that KKAT one.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Courtney.
Because I like finally, she had messaged us about the medium and stuff. And so I messaged her back and I sent her a screenshot. I was like, I've always meant to ask this. I was like, but was this review her review hit before my review did. And so I was like, oh my God. And she said that is me. And she said, you guys are doing an amazing job still. And I hope your fan base continues
I was
to
like,
grow.
thank you for sticking through with it.
I know. She's so sweet. She's been like the OG fan.
Yeah.
And so to literally be our first
literally
review ever. Yeah. So
thank you. Shout out. Yeah. And hopefully everyone else too, if you are listening, go leave a review or something and let us know what you like, what you love, what you want us to do. If you want us to review a movie or see a movie, anything, any suggestions.
We now have like
any interaction.
We have a little list of suggestions starting now that because people have been reaching out to us. So if you want us to cover like a particular movie that we haven't covered yet, please reach out to us and we will add it to this now growing list.
Yeah, or we could even do like a series where we just do like, just listener requests, like,
or like maybe like the last episode of each month or something could be a listener one.
Yeah, and maybe we could highlight.
That's really holding us to having listeners who want us to watch movies.
That's true.
But we've got a few, so we can at least do a few months.
Let's do it. And getting into what we're doing today, we're going to be continuing our Fear Street series, Fear Street 1978. It's the second in the line and continuation of the trilogy, and it quite literally picks up exactly where the first one leaves off, and
it gives you a little recap. I skipped it.
Yeah, and I think everybody should. I mean, it depends on how you're watching it, but if you're
your time, if you're binging it, like just go right into it.
Yeah,
as we talked about like last time, and you were like, go home, watch them today, and I didn't.
No,
I fell asleep. I took like a really long.
I don't blame you.
And then I woke up and was like, I'm gonna spend a lot of money. So
yeah. I feel you.
Impulsivity.
It's the best retail therapy.
I bought like $100 of claw clips.
Online?
Yep. Like hair claws.
I do that all the
hair.
time. That's the best time to do it too, right after waking up from a nap.
$100 of claw clips, though.
Claw clips.
Like these?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
They're cute.
They are cute. And this one is like a small company called Chunks. If you don't follow Chunks Aesthetic, it's really good.
Do they like last long? Or like, do you have to buy so many because you lose them? Or like,
no, I just like all the different color options.
Cool.
Because right now because my hair is so short, I'm limited to these two because they're small enough to fit my hair. And so she had a lot in this size. And so I was like, bet.
Yeah.
So I bought lots. Yay.
I feel that.
I also bought a $150 antique Indonesian devil mask.
How'd you get on eBay or what?
Yeah, it was actually it's an antique shop in Dallas called Dolly Python Vintage.
Shout out to Dolly
we
Python
need to cover
Vintage.
Tusk. Sorry, this just showed up on that Instagram when I opened
someone
it.
was talking to me about that. I think it was Robert. Robert just told me about that one.
What a funny movie.
That's the one with James Long? Justin Long. Yeah.
And we should also cover Teeth, which is, I feel like, kind of similar. But I've actually not seen Teeth. I've just had people tell me to watch it. But anyways, I don't even remember what I was about to do to show you. I was about to show you the demon mask.
Yes,
but
that you bought.
Yes. Anyways, we're watching this movie though.
Fear Street,
good.
1978. This one? Is this one you said was good or what?
Actually, I thought it was worse. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert on the rating.
But no, okay.
Well, I guess we should also imply that we're kind of also covering the Fear Street. I think we mentioned in the last one because
that was so weird. This is the devil mask that pops up.
Oh,
in there.
okay. I see it.
I was like, it's a TikTok, so I don't really know how to stop it.
It's kind of fitting in theme with our back to school little theme that we're going with, you know. And so
I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I just thought that other than Sadie Sink's acting, this one was like a full step down.
Yeah.
And somehow
I can see that.
Dina from the first one to this one, her acting got like not believable.
Like in the beginning of it and then at the second or the end part of it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if it's because this was a
well, I mean,
not as much of a major role, so maybe she didn't take it as seriously and like really like I don't know. It's the same character though, and it was filmed in how many days?
108 days.
So maybe this one was just like a little. No,
this one was rushed. This one was not. I don't want to say rushed. Well, it was all rushed. I would say imagine so, but this one was filmed last.
Oh.
Out of all, I was the first and the third one were filmed together, and the second one was filmed last.
Okay, her little brother still did a good job though. I thought.
I mean, because they only had a little bit of dialogue at the beginning and then at the end when they're like, "Oh, you're such and such," but yeah.
I did like the little twist at the end. Is what I kind of assumed.
Oh, yeah. Did you catch on to that?
Well, because of what we talked about. I thought there was going to be some familial. I was like, one of these bitches is like a direct descendant of Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
But then whenever we spoke about it, you kind of alluded to maybe it being her.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, you're talking about Dina.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then I think it's interesting how like kind of everyone is like roles reprised.
Mm-hmm. They're just
it's
playing
fun.
a different. It's kind of like an anthology, but not because they're playing different characters, but it's the same actors.
And then also like it's kind of cool to think like that maybe they're like traveling souls throughout all this time, and they're just like constantly reincarnated into this mess.
That could
I like
be a
that
thing
idea.
as well. Because what I was also getting to was just like the family lineages are really strong, like the family ties,
Yeah.
like them looking like they're like second, third generation, whatever.
But also like how they
selves.
not look back that far and figure out
That like it all started happening whenever that happened.
or like
What do you
how'd they not know? I mean, I feel like it's not that hard to know your lineage.
Oh yeah.
And I mean 16, sure, that's pretty far back, but with like how long people live and stuff, that's only like probably your like great grandmother.
I don't even know. I don't know how to count.
Me neither.
I don't know. Don't ask me. But it's probably a great something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
A
But
few greats.
it also but Dina's parents also were not even like present throughout the whole movie.
That's true.
So we don't know what any of that could be.
That's true.
Who knows? Maybe they don't know about their lineage or past or anything like that.
That's true. You're so smart.
We're starting off kind of recapping in the news what happened at the end of or throughout the first movie in 1994.
I'm sorry.
Because we're still in 1994 actually at the beginning of the
Sadie thinks the woman who played Cindy.
Her
sister. I don't think she did a bad job either.
Judd. Judd. Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
She's
did
from
well.
Euphoria. She's Judd Apatow's someone Apatow's. No, oh my God, not an Apatow. Why do I got that name stuck in my head? She's someone's daughter. She's a director's daughter. Someone famous. The guy who did the 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's his daughter.
Oh, I like that movie. That's so good.
I don't know if that's the correct name. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Apatow.
Yeah. Oh,
Emily Rudd.
Or maybe it's a different. That's Paul Rudd's daughter.
Oh, well, that's why I
was
liked her.
She's someone's daughter.
Because I love Paul Rudd.
I don't know. It might be, but we need to fact check her.
Oh yeah, probably. But she also did a good job.
I thought she did a really good job too. Who did you think, like, other than Dina, did like really bad?
We're
getting into
grown Ziggy.
Oh,
Jillian
okay.
Jacobs.
The lady from Community.
Yeah, she was. Well, her acting seemed like very just like, I didn't like it. I feel like she does not look like how I would imagine Sadie to grow up.
Gotcha.
A lot of the times are really good at like nailing that.
Mean.
And this did not really look like her. I thought Alice's character honestly annoyed me. And I was like, why the fuck are you bringing up as much baggage as you are all the time? I'm like, I'm sorry. Life sucks. But like, we ain't got time to be rehashing shit right now. There's literally a murder on the loose. So we need to go. And, I mean, it's not that like everyone sucked. It's just.
Maybe it's the content.
I liked the vibe. This one was a little bit more cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there were some more cheesy moments in there, and I'm like, I could have done without that line. But again, it is for a younger audience.
Yeah.
And so I do have to remember that.
And I think they're also trying to play into that like 80s slasher camp type of horror film as well.
But I feel like a lot of the I feel like they're not like it's like, oh my God, like nothing will ever separate us again.
And this one,
we were like,
and this one.
Well, they were in this one, and I don't feel like
felt
that
like
they're
they were
more
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch. I didn't.
Literally,
feel like
the sisters' dying breaths were both like, not even death will keep us apart.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what took me on blood.
Gotcha. You found that more cheesy. I was like crying.
Oh, I was like, fucking stop talking, you're dying.
No, I wasn't crying, but I was like, oh dang, yeah.
Okay, no, at one part I was like, oh fuck, this is
because
really.
I was really like, I knew that there were. It's I think because I know that one was at least gonna die, that I'm like gunning for.
I was not ready for that
both
twist
of them to die. Oh, you weren't.
I was like, wait, what? This whole time I thought Cindy was C. Berman.
Yeah.
And so I kept referring to her as CB.
CB, gotcha. Well, she's still CB.
She is.
Technically.
But
Christine.
I just didn't even. And so when that came, I was
Spoiler
like,
alert.
what?
Spoiler alert.
So that got me good.
Yeah.
But because then whenever she was sitting there getting axed in the chest, I was like,
how is she going to live through that?
How the fuck is she going to live through this? I was like, I would believe Sadie living with these like knife stabs.
Yeah.
I could definitely believe that. And then whenever he was like, Christine, as he put her in the I was like, oh.
Yeah. I like that twist. It's
Yeah,
both
I did
movies
too. That
had
was
like
good.
small. It was kind of like the little twist that this was a way bigger twist, but kind of like the twist that they had in the first one, where it was like Sam was actually a girl as opposed to a boy.
Oh, yeah.
And like I feel like each movie kind of has its own little twist in it.
This next one does look. I am excited to watch it.
It's my favorite one, I believe, because it's and rewatching it,
It looks like a juvenile version of The Witch.
Yeah, sure, very much so.
It's just because they had like a black something.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a sheep, but maybe it was
goat.
a little goat.
Yeah, it's something. But
So yeah, that and then
gives
the
us
garb
vibes.
gave
It
me.
gives
I
us
was like,
vibes.
oh,
It's
this is
very
The
like
Witch.
Salem witch trials almost.
Yeah. Anyways,
but
okay.
not.
Back
And
to the
so
beginning.
yeah, it's back to the beginning of the whole movie.
Sorry.
Time for a break.
I
I'm
just
kidding.
I had to because I felt so bad saying like only Sadie, and that wasn't correct. Like other people did well in this film.
Yeah.
It's just there was like some people that I didn't like.
You
as
have
much.
your opinions, and they're valid just as much. It's all subject.
Oh, and
subjective.
the practical effects, CGI, whatever they did was bad.
On
Like the
which
axes.
part? On
Almost every murder.
On some of them, most of them, I would say.
The first one was like I've seen video games with better graphics than that. Like it almost like glitched the way that
a lot of it too. They like kept out of frame at some point.
Which that great.
That was fine with you.
Do that.
Like,
but if you're gonna do,
because they like did not kill little kids on camp.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need to do that. That would be sad.
I feel like that would have been entering like canceled area for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have a whole recap of what happened at the end of what happened in the movie. We have them ending up, or it's because C. Berman is at her house and she's watching the news. We have like some banging on the door after we see that she has all these alarm clocks. Like
I was like, what the fuck?
To keep, I don't know.
But
I
think
she's
it was
trying to stay awake or she's trying to like stay.
I think it's at least to remind her to check the locks every
all the time.
Like, yeah. And like almost just like making herself like have these compulsive behaviors to
just to be safe, precautious,
to make
like
sure
she
nothing's
could die
going
at
on.
any time. I guess because I guess they've always been after her. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I didn't get that part.
And at that point, like, why didn't she told them to run, but I was like,
why didn't you
just
run? Yeah, it didn't make any sense. There was nothing tying her there, I don't think. Because but she, we have a breaking and entering basically, and it's Dina.
Yeah.
And she's breaking through and she gets attacked by C. Berman. CB, are we calling her CB at this point? CB. She gets attacked by her.
Because like I would have at least been like, hello?
Yeah.
Like Christine
something,
or C.
Berman.
C. Berman,
or
are you
been
here?
like, hey, I'm the one that called you. But also, I felt right before that we saw that the camera panned across that like it's happening again note. Which
tied us back to the first
to Sheriff Good because he slipped that into someone's house and now we know it was her house.
Yeah, which like that's what we thought would happen. Like that's what it was, but it was good to get that confirmation. I liked that.
Yeah, and so she. Sorry for all those cracks. I was drinking some water. We also saw that she's signed on the calendars day 5,937 because that will come into play later. Yeah, she's counting down something or counting from something, since something. And so, anyways, we have her with Dina. She shows her Sam, and she's just like basically like get off my property.
Get that fucking thing off my
literally because it's in their trunk. She's in their trunk, and that's whenever she's telling her like go and run away from here and get away as fast as possible.
Yeah, and this was where Dina's response here. This is where the first time I was like, this acting's not as good.
Not as good.
Like almost immediately, I was like,
she might have been tired. It was the last one. Yeah,
maybe. And I guess she is. I'm assuming will be the main role in the third as well, considering she is Sarah Fear.
We'll see how you like that.
I am excited.
Hopefully you do.
Whenever I was like, oh, damn it, I have to go to work this morning when I was watching it.
Oh, because you didn't get to watch the third one like right after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, that little trailer, it was like, well, now I've also like, I've made it this far. I have to, like, I also have watched like the whole To Every Boy I've Loved Before series or whatever the fuck on Netflix. And then,
did you like them?
A little bit.
Yeah. You're canceled.
Yeah.
JK. Those are great films in their own respect.
I mean, they were cheesy. It was just like fine to like numbly watch, and I was like,
I think people watch those and know what they are, though. Like, you watch that knowing what you go in knowing. What
it's
you're
like when I
get.
watch the Hallmark Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm. You go in knowing,
and I'm like,
and sometimes those are good.
Yeah, well, I love me some Hallmark Christmas movies.
Sometimes
I watch that shit specifically because it's cheesy and completely unrealistic.
Feel good and wholesome.
A random prince wanders into my dad's sandwich shop.
And then you meet Santa Claus because you actually died. And now you have to marry Santa Claus. But that guy that walked into the sandwich shop goes into this other realm and tries to rescue you because he's actually your one true love.
Oh,
but it turns out that
he's
his
Krampus.
dad was actually Krampus. And he's the son of Krampus.
And it's the war of good and evil Santas.
And then we have a whole trilogy.
I love it. I'd watch that film. TM. I almost said TB. That's tuberculosis.
That is. That's scary. Once you get that, I think you have it forever, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, people still get it?
Yeah, I might be wrong. I'm not a doctor.
Damn.
I didn't go to nursing school or
Me
any type
neither.
of medical school, so don't take that for fact. The closest I am is WebMD.
Well, people like still get the Black Plague. So.
Yeah, the bubonic. It's still. I think there's like a reported like at least 3 per year. But I mean that's not like a whole like whatever built. I don't know how many people died.
People still get tuberculosis, an infectious disease that causes a persistent cough and coughing up blood and sputum. What?
Yeah,
and it's highly contagious.
Very. Oh. But I think it's one of those that like once you have it, you have it. But it's not like
no cure.
Well, yeah, but like I don't think people die from it anymore because of like modern medicine or like medications or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's you still have it though. Yeah,
I see.
Okay. And so anyways, we're have Josh and we have Dina talking to what's her face CB, and she's now explaining to them how back in 1978 at Camp Nightwing, her and her sister went there, and then a week later her sister died.
She said it was July 12th,
1978
at Camp Nightwing, and a week later my sister was dead. Doesn't Camp Nightwing sound like it'd be like Batman?
Yeah, it does. Like a training school for little Batman, Batgirls, Robins.
Oh,
I was trying to remember who the third one was. There's Batman, Batgirl, Catwoman. That's who I was trying to think of. My bad. Catwoman. There we go. I was like, I know there's another one in there.
I had the biggest crush on the Robin in the Michael Keaton Batman's growing up.
One with Poison Ivy. Yeah. He was in 2 of them. Batman Returns and Batman Forever, I think. Or maybe it was Batman Forever and Batman something else. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Anyways, all right. Let's talk about this movie. And so she we go to the camp. We see basically you're opening
the most horrific scene.
Yeah, a poor Ziggy is running through the woods, and she literally gets I don't know what you call that.
She's like strung up.
She gets sacked, or she gets she's running really fast, and someone puts out their arm. Clothesline. That's the word. And yeah, I knew there was a specific term for it, and she goes down hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like a grown ass dude doing it to her, and you hear these children like chanting, "Before the witch's final breath, she found a way to cheat her death," and they like say the whole little Sarah Fear nursery
from the first
rhyme.
movie. Yeah,
and it's like, oh god,
have a little tie in there.
I was like, these are just asshole kids.
They're assholes, and they're taking a little too far because they're like stringing her up at this point.
On the hanging tree.
On the hanging tree.
Where Saphira.
I like that. Saphira, where she got hung. And I guess they're all doing this because they saw Ziggy take like $10 from Miss Sheila. And Sheila's a stone cold bitch.
Sheila is a fucking bitch. That's what my notes say.
Sheila's horrible.
Sheila trash.
Is like the horror, like the nightmare I fear that my niece and nephew might ever come in contact with or become.
Yeah.
Because it's like she's just a horrible person. The worst
She was
bully
so
ever.
mean.
She literally burned her with the lighter.
Yeah, she was ready to kill her.
She was literally.
I was like, this bitch is the witch.
Granted, all of them throughout even the 1994 and this one, like they're all about just like killing each other.
Yeah.
Like, very like
willy-nilly.
Yeah, very like we're gonna kill them. Like okay, cool. They're very passionate. I'll give them that.
I also wake up and think, I'll kill
Literally
a friend today. No.
And so we have them doing all this nonsense, and then we have Nick Good and Kurt, I believe is his name.
Yeah,
Kurt. I don't ever remember hearing a last name, but Kurt is running up with him, and they're yelling at the kids, and Will is apparently with them, which is we find out Will Good. That name.
That was his brother.
William
Okay.
Good,
William
and he
Good.
becomes the mayor of the Sunnyvale in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, this was also, I was like, this bitch. I was like, Nick Good is from Sunnyvale?
Yeah.
I thought, wasn't he the sheriff of
He's the sheriff.
Shadyside?
He is the sheriff of both. I guess he's the jurisdiction over both of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just automatically assumed he was from Shadyside.
Mm-mm.
Oh, so that was a twist for me too.
Gotcha.
I was like, Nick Good is from Sunnyvale?
How dare he?
Mean.
Yeah, he's no good now.
Yeah.
Nick no good.
Nick bad.
And with the E at the end.
Yeah.
And so,
Bad
day. And so we have them all yelling, kind of like trying to get to the bottom of what's happening. They're saying that Ziggy took $10, and then they're like, this is going too far. And then we have basically Kurt telling Ziggy to like go get your stuff and call your mom because you're
like,
out.
5 strikes, you're out.
That's
and she
right.
says, I'm out. They just tried to murder me.
Literally.
And it was like, yeah, she's got a really good point. And he's
She
like,
really
I'll deal with
does.
them later. And
Yeah.
I was like, no, you won't, bitch.
And Kurt is putting all the blame basically on her. And that's whenever Sheila's like, well, she didn't mean to do it. She's possessed by the witch.
Mm-hmm.
And they start going at it again. I thought that was really funny.
I liked that too.
Yeah. And so
I liked Ziggy had a lot of spunk.
she really did. Because
liked her.
then she goes off. We have Nick following her, and then she's like, oh, he says that like, aren't you gonna thank me or something, like say thank you? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And if it wasn't apparent, she's really punching it in like, okay, this is Sheriff Nick Good from the 1994 movie. Yeah. And so
because they're talking about like the heir apparent and how he'll like take after his dad. Or
there's
whatever.
a lot of pressure for him basically, and she flips him off, and we get a nice little segue into I believe just camp vibes, and then we have Tommy and Cindy.
Yeah, because you're seeing them split them up via town too. Like between, it said something like 78 color war, and you're getting them like passing out the shirts, and they like hand one to Ziggy, and it's like,
that's right.
Even you, like Joan, I think is who it was.
Joan, the very hippie girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She handed one out, and then then it goes to Cindy and what's his name?
Thomas Slater.
Thomas Slater.
Yeah. We cut to them in the outhouse or whatever it is, bathrooms, little thing that comes a lot into play later on.
It does. Red poo-poo.
Because we
moss.
have this red moss that stains her shirt, and she's kind of freaking out. But then
I was like, why is
like,
she freaking out so much at first?
Because I guess she's type A, or
no, I think it's because they mentioned later, like she saved up. She worked all like summer and stuff to saved up to buy that white polo so she could look like she was from Sunnyvale.
That's right.
Or Sunnyvale. Is it Vale?
Sunnyvale.
Vale.
Sunnyvale.
Like this. Gross.
And that's
See?
why
That's
we
why we
change
change
them
it.
every time. And so we have her freaking out about the stain on her shirt, but then Tommy gets a little handsy, puts his hands on her booty, her booty, and she's kind of like, you can tell she's she's just like, stop it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not your
She's not
typical...
giving 80s. She's giving 50s.
Yeah.
That's what it's
She's
giving.
Like, no, we can't do that. Like, and it's like, yeah.
Watch, they were even like freakier in the 50s.
Yeah, probably. That was the like age of the swingers.
Oh, really? Oh.
I don't actually know. I just made that up right now.
I feel like that
I said
probably
it with conviction,
though. I believed you. I'm like, oh, really? And so then after that, she's getting frustrated because they have to get all this stuff done before the color war starts. Like go clean the mess hall and stuff. And then she's like asking where Alice and I forget his name.
Judd.
His name only gets mentioned like
when
Arnie.
He's dead. Arnie. I was way off.
Yeah, it's okay. Arnie, and so she goes looking for them, and we get a really like raunchy sex scene between Alice and Arnie.
Like her head is getting like pounded into that stereo behind her, which I'm also like, that would be so loud.
Which is like the total opposite of what we just saw with like Tommy and there's so many names. There's so many kids. Cindy. She is CB, but she's not CB. But Cindy, And so we have this little interaction between Alice and her, and they're kind of like what would you call that? Like a friends who used to be friends but not friends because there's like beef between y'all. So
there's
it's
clearly
like
some
friction,
grudge.
Yeah, especially on Alice's part. She's treating her very shitty. Yeah, I'd say.
And like, I mean, you can tell.
And making it apparent because she actually says you're a snitch or something like that, right?
Like openly refers to her as snitch, like the whole movie. Because then after that, she just is like, hey, snitch, or something, you know?
And so they're talking, they're smoking pot. They're asking Alice, or no, not Alice. They're asking Cindy to go get drugs from nurse, what's her face?
Lane.
Which is, how could I forget? That's a very important part.
Yeah.
From the nurse Lane. And
I didn't put it together at first.
What were they asking for? Bananas and blueberries?
No, Yellow Jackets and Redbirds.
Yellow Jackets and Redbirds. It's funny how they go back to like referencing of like the time. I guess that's probably what they were called back then. I don't know. I don't know who's fact checking.
I don't know what drugs are called today.
Yeah, same. Yellow Jackets and Redbirds. That makes sense. A redbird and then like a yellow jacket, like a bzz bzz, like a yellow jacket, right?
Yeah, those sting you.
They hurt.
Yeah.
I've been stung by one.
Not
They're painful.
fun.
No. And so they're treating her kind of like shit, and they're calling her a snitch. And then that's whenever we cut to Ziggy talking to or visiting Nurse Lane because she got burned by what's her face, Sheila. And so she goes in looking for her, but she doesn't see her at first, and she kind of notices that there's like this book and like all this like witchy stuff.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty like wide open on her desk.
Just like literally there for anybody.
Homegirl wasn't.
She was begging for someone to look at it.
She wasn't trying to be very secretive.
And so that's whenever she kind of pops up out of nowhere, and then we have kind of a jump scare, and then we have
and she's acting hella weird the whole time,
cryptic.
Like from the get. It's like she also looked like a little sick.
She did. Yeah, she wasn't
Maybe
all
she was
there.
real tired.
Could have been.
Like she looked like
she had been probably
and,
digging all night or something.
Oh yeah. She
or
looked real
just
sweaty.
not getting sleep and like getting really like crazy trying to find them. And so she's wrapping up Sadie, and Sadie is asking a lot of questions, to be honest. Ziggy is asking a lot of questions, to be honest. So it's probably triggering Miss Nurse Lane at the same time.
Yeah.
But Nurse
because
Lane,
she doesn't like she doesn't go around it. She's just like, so what's the witch's mark? Like very point blank, like hey. I was like, oh, okay. She just straight up gonna ask. Okay.
Well, like Nurse Lane starts going on about like her daughter was Ruby Lane, and
that's when I was like, oh shit, lol, that would be her mom, right?
Right. And so we have her then, like everybody's tied in some way, and so we're basically getting like details of what happened, how Ruby Lane killed 7 people, and then killed herself.
Yes, and then I was like, so also. And I wonder, I don't know, because I don't know how many people were killed here, but I was like,
oh, it's like 12 or 14.
Okay. I was like, what if it was like 7 victims plus themselves, making it 8, like 78, like saying the next time it would happen.
Maybe.
But then also the one in the mall with like actual skull face, like the first time before he got shot in the head, was 7 victims plus himself, making him the 8th.
That's true.
So I thought maybe they were all going to be 7 victims plus themselves. And so at one point I was trying to like count down, and then they just killed a bunch more, and I was like, okay, never mind.
It was more than 7.
Yeah, I was like, that's a lot of dead people.
I want to say it was 12 or 14.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It was a lot.
It was somewhere around that range.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
And so, she's having this conversation with Nurse Lane, and Nurse Lane is like starting to wrap a bandage around her arm to cover where she got burned, and she ends up going really tight, and she's like hurting her as she's talking to her. So she's clearly like unhinged a little bit.
And she's saying she's like, sometimes killing isn't murder, sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's good. And in that moment, I feel like she was really trying to
justify,
reassure herself, and justify what she was about to do.
That's very true, because she was probably getting unhinged at what she knew she had to be done.
I have to do this so that way this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Which,
but then I wonder if then
she would have done
would
that,
become. But her name wasn't on the wall.
Yeah, and I think honestly that if that would have happened, then so and so would have just picked another so and so. Like, you know, just like, oops.
If I were her, I would have just taken over her. Like if I was Sarah Fear, I would just be like, okay, but bitch, you already spilled some blood, so I'm gonna kill you. Like, you win this now too.
The witch controls everything.
She could scribble her name on the wall real fast.
She could. And so then we have Ziggy coming out of that's whenever Cindy shows up, just in the nick of time. And then we have her taking Ziggy out of the nurse's office, and Ziggy's trying to ask Cindy like, hey, did something happen to Nurse Lane today, because she was acting really weird, she was bugging, and Cindy's brushing it off. She's not paying attention to her, which comes on later. And so all of that. And so Cindy is kind of venting
while scrubbing the
floor, because right before that, like just the little, like kind of the interaction between Ziggy and Cindy for most of the movie until the end, when they're kind of nicer to each other, they're really like they're bumping heads with each other, which is
she was like laughing about
sibling
her
vibes, you know.
Yeah, but also clearly there's had a little bit more animosity than I feel like normal.
It's true,
because she was like laughing at her, being like, you're never gonna get out of here, like wake up, basically. And
they're both, well, no, Ziggy was being a little more cruel to her than she should have been.
Yeah.
But clearly that's probably like there's just already something that we know is going on between them that you know gets talked and dealt with later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have that going on. She's then, like we said, scrubbing the floor. She breaks the sponge in half because she's venting. And talking to Tommy about how much she's just basically trying to just better her life and get out of Shadyville. Shadyside. There you go.
It's confusing.
I'm
like Shadyside's Shady Sunny.
And with all
I'm
the
just
names
gonna say Shady
too.
or Sunny.
And so we have her then trying to find a new sponge, and she notices that we get like vibes that someone's in
There's
there
a little
with him.
flash across the doorway.
Exactly.
Kind of like at the opening in the bookstore when we got that flash between the shelves.
And the knife drawer is open, and there's all these knives in there. Like what? There's a lot of knives.
There is a lot of knives.
A lot of knives, a lot of different sizes. And so she went back into the mess hall, and then we have Tommy kind of acting weird. So I was like, oh shit, wait, is Tommy gonna do something?
Yeah, I was like, and okay, I loved how the first cut is the deepest was playing, or like that song. I don't know if that's the name, but yeah, the one.
Yeah.
It was
like
playing,
the
and I was
like,
this one
too. They all do really
very
good
telling
about keeping their music of like the time that they're in. Yeah. And so we have Nurse Lane coming out of nowhere, and she starts attacking Tommy. Because she's saying like, I saw your name written on the wall, and one way or another you're gonna die tonight. And we have Cindy kind of just standing in shock.
Yeah,
she's not moving, she's frozen. Yeah. And she's saying all that cryptic shit, and then
they're having an altercation.
Yeah, Tommy's able to kind of push her off, and she ends up hitting her head. So that knocks her out for a while.
And then he also hits his head.
That's true. And he has a little blood behind it coming out.
Because later on he was like, my head hurts. I was like, no shit, it hurts.
He like, probably is concussed.
Yeah, I was like, your head was bleeding.
Yeah.
Like dead center of the back of his head too. Ugh.
And so we have...
Probably on that like little head knuckle. You know, you got one of those?
Yeah. Well, kind of.
You know, like right here.
No.
You don't got no head knuckle?
What's a head knuckle?
Oh no, I just made up that word right now.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. It's like where the spine connects like into the
like a little like that. Yeah. I could like the shelf. Like if it's like my little shelf.
Yeah.
But like upside down.
Upside down.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's the ledge.
Head knuckle.
And so I'm gonna call it that from now on.
Me too.
And so we have the police, ambulance. She's getting carried away on a stretcher. The police are asking Tommy like if he had any beef with her, and he's like, no, I barely talked to her.
Like, I have no clue why she would want to kill me.
Yeah, and so they're just like really all kind of confused as to what the motive was for that to happen. But it basically just gets like, okay, well, that
especially
happened.
because everyone else seemed to like. I mean, she seemed to be like pretty okay, or at least the Bermans had a good relationship with her.
Yeah, but then of course, we have all the little kids talking and gossiping. Everybody in camp is gossiping. They're like, what happened, with Nurse Lane. We have the campers gossiping, and then we have the counselors gossiping at the table. And basically everybody's kind of saying how it's the witch. She got possessed. Sarah Fear made her do it.
And at this point, the other bullies had gone and messed up Ziggy's cabin.
Well, that's right.
That was when you see them running out, and it's like, oh. But yeah, they're like sitting there joking about the witch, and I was like, oh, probably shouldn't be doing that. And then fucking Kurt comes in, and he's like talking to them on the table.
That's right.
And
about the color war.
Yeah, and he was like, you were gonna kill those those evil
Shady
Shadysiders. Yeah, shady witches. And I'm like, you just called a bunch of children evil and said you were you're a camp counselor.
They're good. It's like good versus evil. Yeah. And also, the whole vibe of this camp is basically just Sunnyvale people pissing on Shadysiders.
Yeah, I was like, you're so mean.
And I've never it's very weird, like the fact that they're like they're 30 minutes away from each other, but yet they're like, I don't know what the equivalent is, I guess. Are there like areas where like the rivalry is that like
to where you're like, we're good and you're evil?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. The only other thing I can think of is in Schitt's Creek, where the Elmdale, the road was
that's right.
like not as shitty. That's where all the nice things were.
Gotcha. And so we have
is that the name of the town? I don't know.
It might be. I don't know.
Elm something.
I haven't watched all of Schitt's Creek.
Or
I've seen a few
in
episodes. It's funny.
Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty...
Eagle something, or what was it?
There's Pawnee.
Yeah, and then Eagleton.
Eagleton.
Something like that.
Eagle Face.
Yeah. And so all of them are basically gossiping about all that. And then after, that's whenever Kurt came in, and he was basically, it's just more proof that all the Sunnyvalers are assholes, because they're all like clapping and cheering. And like, then we have Joan going up there and giving her like, well, even if we lose, we still win because we're all winners.
In our heart.
Yeah. In our hearts, literally.
It's like, okay, well, bitch, I don't count.
Yeah. And so after
I'm
that,
competitive.
we have Tommy talking to the little kids, getting them ready for the colorborn, about, I guess it's capture the flag or something. And so he's acting a little strange though, and he starts hearing the whisper, like we have seen Sam hear the whisper in the first movie. And Ryan Torres.
And Ryan, at the beginning.
Yeah, which basically means like, oh, they're gonna be killing people here pretty soon.
Yup.
And so Ziggy thinks at that point that they're all cursed. She's talking to Cindy. That's right. And they're having that whole little spill between them. Basically Ziggy is very like with Dina's vibes in the first movie, of how she was like very like everything's doom and gloom, everything's the worst, we're like
Dad left,
we're
Mom's
destined
drinking.
To just suck.
Yeah, she was like, we're cursed. She's like, I can literally feel something like there that's just cursing us. And then she says, your whole fake bullshit life will like come crumbling down.
Yeah,
basically, like your little polo's not like fooling anyone. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. Because then later on, like whenever she rips the polo, I feel like she came to terms with herself. And so it's like, this polo is super symbolic.
It really is, honestly, for her, especially in her character development, her arc.
And that's why she got so upset at the beginning, because she was like, no, my like perfect reputation has been like tainted by this poo-poo moss.
Yeah, very much a metaphor.
And she was going to be covered in that poo-poo moss later.
Oh, all over it. Oh, really? Yeah, I forgot about that. And that's funny. I didn't even think about that parallel too, of her being so perfect and pristine clean, and like, but then like ending up in
literal shit
later on.
Yeah, like when Ziggy hugs her and she's like, you smell like shit, and she was like, well,
because I'm covered in it.
Covered in it.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Ugh, literally.
They were like, is that toilet paper? I was like, no.
And from an outhouse nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, that's just nasty.
So it's just like, it's been sitting there in the heat.
That's like ages of poop. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Tommy's, they're all cursed. We have this whole interaction between the sisters. And then we have her, basically she was getting paint as well in the whole process of them having this conversation, because we're thinking kind of something like, oh, that's right. I remember what happens. That's right. At this point, I thought, oh, she just wanted paint to cover up the walls.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, okay, she's just going to get some paint to,
cover up the walls graffiti. Because they like graffitied all over
like super mean things.
Yeah, like Ziggy's a witch bitch.
She sucks like cocks. She sucks
cocks in hell. Yeah. What is that? Shout out to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's funny because that's what I wrote here in my notes. That's always like, oh wait, but anyways,
and then they carry on or My Wayward Son. The
song, yeah,
that came on, and I was like, I can only think of Supernatural when I hear.
Oh,
this.
really?
Yeah, that song is like forever tied to Supernatural. That and Eye of the Tiger because of the one like out credit scene where Jensen Ackles like danced to it the whole time. Anyways, but. Yeah, so that plays, and it comes back into play later too.
It does.
They play it again, but
and then we see Tommy's not good.
Yeah.
Again,
he's hearing more spooky whispers.
He's looking a little pale at some points, and that's whenever Miss what's her face Cindy is like, we're gonna go to the infirmary because we're gonna get some clues about like why she attacked you and like what's going on, and and he's also not feeling good, so I think she really wanted him to like lay down or something like that,
and at least try and find him something.
Yeah, that's right. And so they go to the infirmary, and that's whenever she's looking and snooping around, she finds this little bottle of pills that's like half empty, so she's like thinking, of course, like, oh yeah, she was taking these drugs,
and it's also like unmarked because the only marking that we have is like the 74 or L484 that's on the actual pill.
And so we have which comes into play also later, which I almost wish they wouldn't have mentioned it and almost just like let the kids either like act like they were high or something, because I googled it too because I'm like, what is L484? And I'm like, oh my god, it's Tylenol. It's Tylenol, it's aspirin, it's acetaminophen. Yeah. Which was really funny, but anyways, she gets it, and that's whenever we have they hear a noise and they're like, oh my god, but it's just Alice and fucking Arnie, and they're in there trying to score some drugs, but they end up then taking those drugs that she had, and then they also take the book that she, because did Alice find it or no,
she finds the drugs and Tommy finds the book.
He found the book, and that's what they were looking at, and that's when
the glass
Alice
breaks
and all that shit happens. But yeah, once again, we have Alice being kind of a little bit of a douche.
I just put these assholes.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't.
Yeah, pretty much. And they end up.
I mean, she was playing the role well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
I just think I didn't like her.
She modeled her character after like a very like grungy, like troubled teen.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I was a troubled teen too, and I didn't act out and be super mean to people. That told on me in the like 12th grade, or when I was 12. 12th grade is fucking senior year.
But you're also an angel. Yes, you are. Like,
I also moved schools so much that I probably didn't know. Well, when I was 12, that's like right before high school, right?
Maybe.
Okay, so probably only like 4 years had passed. I was sitting there thinking that like this happened when they were like 5. For some reason.
It could have, though, because it seems like they probably would have been like also like maybe they were neighbors or something, like childhood best friends. Like,
yeah,
but it probably happened at school, right?
Happened when they were. Someone said that like.
Was it 12?
It was like let it go. It was when we were 12. Yeah,
okay.
I think Cindy said it at one point, and I was like, damn,
it's a long time to hold on.
Why y'all holding on to that grudge? Just 5 years at least.
And so we have what's her face, Alice, going through it, and she ends up finding a map in it, and she's like took the drug, she takes the book, and her and Arnie are like, let's go on an adventure. What's better like than going to find a witch's castle or house like on high on whatever L484 is.
Yeah. And I was honestly a little bit surprised at how quickly she was like, oh, this makes a map. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where basically they read again.
It's a little too unrealistic for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they read again, like, curse will last until body and hand unite. And that's when they're like, oh.
But I feel like this curse, even in, like, figuratively speaking, not necessarily just the curse itself, like, it seems like, because even of how much, like, the kids reference it in the first movie, 1994, and then in this one, like, that.
Everyone knows it by heart.
Yeah. That literally by heart. It like runs their city.
Yeah. They wake up in the morning, instead of the pledge, they say Sarah Fierce curse.
Literally. So it's got a hold on them. Something fierce.
And on that map, we realize that camp is the same place as the OG like Union settlement.
Yep.
That happened. And so that's when they're like, ooh. I mean, obviously, the hanging tree was there. So clearly we were pretty close.
The hanging tree just makes me think of Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Because isn't that the Hanging Tree song that they?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Like she made whatever that she sung.
For Rue.
Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, because I remember what's her face saying it, Jennifer Lawrence or whatever. It was on the radio. I was like, damn, they got Hunger Games songs on the radio.
That was on the radio?
It was on the radio for like a quick minute.
I was like, I remember the Taylor Swift song that was on there was on the radio. But I don't remember Jennifer Lawrence singing on the radio. I also think I just had
they
my
like remixed
massive
it.
iPod.
They like remixed it. It wasn't like because she does her like little like acapella version in the movie, and then like someone put it over a beat.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
And that was when like EDM and stuff was coming out, so it was like a
real big. Yeah.
Anyways, what were we talking about? They're
Allison,
they're gonna go to
I put boy
Arnie.
Yeah, took her bag. They ran off, and
we
flash back
Cindy.
We flash back to Ziggy there, and that's when Sheriff Goods come in.
That's right.
And
she's in her cabin,
and he's like, red paint. She was like, well, I didn't have a pig. And then he was like,
you're gonna carry that shit?
Yeah, he was basically like, we love a good Stephen King. Like, okay. And I loved when he was like, they had just like a cute banter.
Yeah.
And then when he's like, carry on, but like carry a CARRIE.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay! Shout out to our Carrie episode.
Very punny.
It was good. But then they go back. We go back to the 4.
And we have Cindy and Tommy going after Alice and Arnie, and they end up coming across.
And Arnie's taking more drugs at this point. And I'm like,
because he can't fail the L484.
Which is like, okay. But like also it's only been like fucking like 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah, literally.
So
and like maybe wait a little bit.
Wait.
Because you're supposed to. And so that at this point in my notes, that's when I put that it was acetaminophen, because I had looked it up and I was like, LOL, this boy is tripping off Tylenol. And so we have them coming up to a bunch of holes in the ground.
Yeah.
Because Mary was digging holes because she was looking for where the hand or the body, right?
Yeah.
The body.
It was.
She was looking for the body at this point. That's right.
Yeah, she was just trying to find the hand. Yeah. Oh.
No, the actual body.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the body was found later on the side of the road. Remember? So she thought for some reason the body was in that area, but it got moved. Remember by? Oh no.
I think she was looking for the hand.
No, she was looking for the body.
Okay.
I think I almost gave a spoiler for the third.
Oh, because she didn't find the hand yet though. She hadn't found it because Alice finds it
next to the kissing thing.
Next to the Satan rock.
Satan's rock.
Yeah.
Kissing rock.
I don't know.
Kissing Rock is in the other movie, the one that it's because I watched part 3 already as well, and so some of it's like getting mixed into my thing because they're all connected.
Flooding over,
my bad,
spilling over. That's what I meant.
But anyways, yes, she was looking for something. She was looking for the hand, all of it. She's looking for the witch.
And Tommy's looking rough.
He's not looking
at this
well.
point. Oh, and CB ripped her polo.
That's right. Yeah.
So
and that's whenever it was.
We're getting closer to her coming to terms with it.
Her curse. And so they end up. I think it's Alice and Arnie find the basement.
Yeah, they find the little house.
Yeah, and so that's whenever they go into this basement.
And they're like taunting her. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I would be taunting the witch as I go into her house. And like, why wasn't that shit boarded up? That didn't seem that hard to find.
Yeah, maybe because whoever is going down in there.
True.
But like, also, why wouldn't he have put like a door or something on it? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because it was just
open.
And there was lots of things in there. It wasn't like it was abandoned. There were still plenty of candles.
Yeah.
Books. It looked like someone lived there.
Yeah.
Currently. Which I guess.
It's on study.
Maybe.
It was.
But yeah.
Who knows? I'm not sure. Maybe. Yeah. Because it was on the campgrounds. But it's for all intents and purposes of the movie, it had to be easy for them to find it. And so they end up going into it. They end up seeing like the altar and like you said, all these things inside of it.
The witch's mark literally is burning still
on the floor and everything. It's very occult vibes. And then that's whenever we have them kind of snooping around. We have Alice and Cindy looking all over the place. And then Alice sees something and she tells Cindy, come over here, look, I found something. And that's whenever we're like, Tommy's name is written on the wall because we start seeing all of the Shadyside killers' names written on the wall.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that wall.
That wall we've seen before.
Yeah, I forgot
that had
I
Sam's
forgot
name
about
on
that
it.
part
Mm-hmm.
from the first one. And so I was like, oh. And Cindy heard her name called at this point, too.
Yeah, at that point, too. I was like, wait, what is Cindy's tie?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess the witch just calls to some people more as well. I don't know.
Yeah, she just, maybe because she knew she was going to die.
Maybe. And then we have them. The way my mind works.
Oh, so basically they go back out and
yes, that's right.
kind of Arnie's like kind of antagonizing him, and I was like, yo, you might want to stop. Like, I feel like he's about to snap.
Yeah.
And not really but then
He's
he eventually
asking him if he's okay, isn't he?
Yeah, I think earlier he was kind of toying with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he basically just stands up and he's like,
yeah. So we have them trying to come back to the boys, and that's whenever Tommy starts axing away at Arnie's head.
mm-hmm.
And we have the girls freaking out.
And then at that point I finally was like, oh, he's a potato sack man. He's
Mm-hmm.
literally in the same outfit.
Mm-hmm. Literally. Yeah.
But I was just like, he doesn't have a potato sack on.
Yeah, and I like how that comes into play
I did too.
later and not now.
Yeah.
So it gives you almost like a different killer vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something we're so familiar with. And we have them running away from him because he's chasing after them. And then there's a rock cave-in slide happens somehow.
Yeah,
at a
because
certain
they're
point,
like sitting there
scuffling
destroying
against each other.
things, trying to get
Yeah.
to that weird secret room behind the bookshelf.
That's
that,
right.
Cindy had found and heard her
And
name whispered from.
We have them getting separated by the rocks, and they're basically caved in
Mm-hmm.
while he's on the other side. So he leaves that basement while they're stuck there. And that's whenever we're back at the kids in camp, and Sheila gets a note.
Yeah.
And that's whenever it tells her to go
And the
to
way
the
she
restroom.
talked to those kids, like, just so fucking mean.
Oh,
again.
she's a bee.
Yeah.
And then you see her, she thinks that it's from Nick. And so she goes to the restroom. She's like,
Oh, it's
getting
from Nick.
herself.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize who it was from.
Yeah. Because the little boy told her, hey, this is from Nick.
Oh. I was like, who's Nick?
Yeah. And so she ends up going to the outhouse, and she goes to the stall, and there's like a little.
Because it was like flowers leading to a toilet.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, for real. Because she's like, we could have just gone to your bunk, but I guess it'll just be romantic or something, whatever.
Yeah. She was
I
like,
don't
I think,
know.
but this is hot, is what she said.
Yeah, that's weird.
I was like,
and
not in an outhouse. That shit stinks.
Really, though.
Like, I don't
And
mind
so,
bathroom
especially
sex.
during like summer camp.
Yeah.
Disgusting. And so she ends up finding another little note, and it's from obviously Ziggy, and it's, what did it say? It says something, I don't remember, but she tells her to look up.
Yeah.
And she then
There was
has,
another note that,
Mhm.
yeah, just said look up.
and then we have all these little bugs and roaches fall on top of her. Yeah, I would have not been happy.
No, and they locked her in.
Yeah,
So
so
then
she's
she's like,
basically freaking out with all these bugs all over her, and
Ugh,
she's
they're
stuck in an
so
outhouse,
big.
a stinky, booty outhouse. Yeah,
Mhm.
but honestly, she deserves it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she did.
I honestly would have rather preferred her get like paint all over her though, because I feel
Full
like
on carried.
yeah, because like the bugs are like cool and all, but I just like her drenched in paint and like just being covered, like it maybe going into her eyes and stinging a bit. Like I feel like that would have been cool too.
Would have hurt more.
Yeah. And so yeah, we have all of that happening. We have Nick and Ziggy running away and going back to the cabin. Of course, they're laughing about it, and they're getting along pretty great. I would say they're kind of bonding over traumatizing Sheila.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think at this point we're also cutting back to Alice and Cindy, who are stuck in the cave.
yeah, and Alice is like, I get it. She was, I mean, obviously
Alice
she's
is
upset
freaking
about
out.
Arnie
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, but she was just basically like, well, we're dead. We're gonna die down here. And I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
girl,
She
you
gave
haven't
up
even
already.
tried. And I was like,
Well, they have
okay,
to
I
be
get
what?
it.
They're
You're
like
sad.
17 years old, probably.
Yeah, probably. But I was like, but y'all have to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like you gotta start moving. No time to just sit there. I don't know.
She's probably in shock.
Yeah. And then
But I
that's
feel
when
that.
we see that it's just like basically a giant fucking cavern underneath
Mhm.
this entire
Labyrinth.
yeah,
It's a
underneath the
labyrinth of
entire
cave system.
park. Which the Midwest and the North do have lots of cave systems and like multiple like people utilize that for like people go disappear around these cave systems all the time.
Oh,
So,
not
like-
for fun. You mean like disappearing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like
They
they're
die?
dead. Yeah.
Okay.
They're gone. Missing without like
That's crazy.
they're just gone.
That's scary.
because I feel like
Wait, do
people
they
use
get
the
eaten
cave
by something?
systems.
Or does it just
Something
get
that's
lost
either
and they
lives in
die?
there or people are killing them and like taking them in.
Oh my gosh, there's like an entire like underground like nation, and anytime
Probably.
that people walking down there,
There could be,
that,
or
maybe.
people just like kill them outside of it, drag them in, drop their body far enough in, and yeah.
Where?
And any of there's lots of like if you look at like cave systems in the
Google this.
U.S.
I'm gonna
yeah,
YouTube videos
it's pretty
this
cool.
After I get home
I mean,
today.
that the people dying
And
is
we
not
go
cool,
home.
but you know.
Yeah,
what I mean.
no, I mean,
The cave
yeah, I
system.
get what you mean. No, it's kind of like the Us movie, like Jordan Peele movie, how it talks about that at the beginning. And like, obviously, we have like throughout history, like there's mining things, there's like the Underground Railroad tunnels, there's like all these other tunnels that have been down there. So
Places that wanted to build subway tunnels and then didn't.
that's right. Yeah,
Las Vegas got an underground city.
that's true.
Left some old people.
Ratma.
Ratma.
Ratma. I forgot about that episode. That was
It's
such
my
a funny
favorite.
episode. It really was.
Shout out to our VHS 94.
Mm-hmm.
94.
I'll listen to that one. Oh wow, yeah,
Meow.
ties in.
We said we were going to cover that last video because our like commentary on the last one was basically like, we don't know what we saw.
Oh yeah,
we never
we
went
never
back and
went back to
watched.
cover it.
Yeah, I never even went back and watched it.
I honestly,
I was like,
know.
okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'd watch it again and again though for Ratma and that like microwave, whatever that meal vegetable smusher was.
Oh yeah, all
Loved
of them.
that was good.
And so back to Fear Street, 1978,
Not 94.
not 94. We have after all of that, Miss Alice freaking out. We have Cindy and her like getting into like a little shoving match, I guess, and then they split up. Which I'm like, I wouldn't split up, but okay, yeah, you know what? Let's split up.
And even at one point, someone denied it being the witch. Was it Cindy?
Still, I think.
And I
maybe
was
at this
like,
point.
girl,
she's still denying it.
you've had like,
because even right now she starts hearing more voices.
yeah, and I'm like, you saw the altar.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend just axed someone. What?
Yeah.
You don't believe this is a witch?
It's got to be like she knows that's not his character, so it's got to be something.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
supernatural.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? But yeah, so they split up, and basically Cindy's like, don't follow me. And she's going around, and then all of a sudden she stops, and then from behind her we hear,
Boo.
boo. And it's Alice.
Alice again. And she's like, I thought I told you not to follow me.
And she was like, you went in a circle.
Yeah, which I didn't see her go in a circle, but I guess she
I didn't either.
You know, we don't know.
It was a
We're not
trick
there.
of the eye.
It really was. Because then also, too, I was thinking, like, wait, how was Alice, like, where was she? She just, like,
Yeah, I was like-
skulking there, waiting, because she was there for, like, a good minute.
I know, hiding with, like, I'm like, how did the light
Intent to
miss
scare
her?
Yeah, it's true.
She had a flashlight in her hand. I don't
know.
understand. It didn't make sense to me.
And so that's
It's magic,
whenever-
witchcraft.
It is witchcraft. That's when we get to them. There's talking, and then they're figuring out that the symbol that's in the book is a map of the cave.
And that the cave system is the literal scar on the land.
Literally.
Literally.
And so, and that's
And
why
she
it
was like,
goes
the
all the way.
symbol is a map.
And it goes
National
underneath
treasure.
the entire city, basically the town or area, the
Yeah.
grounds. It did give National Treasure. I just watched that one the other day.
Yeah.
Book of Secrets, the second one.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. Is that the one where they go on Mount Rushmore?
Yep.
Fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think the second one is better, but they're both good in their own right. Yeah, I really like the second one.
That's the one where they got that cool cave system that goes down and down and down. No, is that the first one?
That's
It's
the
been
first
so
one.
long.
That's the first one. That's the first. Well, they're both. Well, no. The first one, yeah. The second one is Mount Rushmore, and then it's like the City of Gold inside of it, and then they're on that turn thing, that table. That's
Yeah.
like, there's that one.
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
The first one is actual like a system though, and then they're in those little like those
like platforms?
platforms jumping.
Okay,
from
JK, that's what I'm thinking
That's
of.
the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Because that's the bad guy's the long hair dude,
Right.
and then the second one the bad guy's
You'd
the
think
bald
with
guy.
How many times I had to watch that for
In school?
history class?
Yeah.
That I would know.
I was always so happy when
Oh,
when
me
we would
too.
watch it at school.
Everyone
I
else
was
would be
like,
like,
that's one of my favorites.
"Ugh,"
Literally.
And I was like, yes.
But I also really like history and stuff. So.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes. So we have them following this map on the. Oh, you know what? At this point, did we have?
I just put the Sunnyvale people are so goddamn mean. And then I said
They
they
are.
egged him. Oh, yeah, that was where they threw eggs
That's
at
right.
Jeremy.
Oh, that's right. Yep. They threw
His
eggs at
little
Jeremy.
eyes.
Poor boy. And then we have him getting murdered.
Yeah.
By Tommy as well.
Yeah.
And so at this point, that's when I figured out as well. I guess only Shadysider, Shady. Shadysiders. Yeah, that makes sense. Shadysiders
right.
are getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so Nick is trying to get to know Ziggy a little bit more at this point as well. We have
and there's a possum.
Yeah. Where?
It was inside the room when they're looking at all the animals in the nature room. There's a little possum. I had 3 pet possums.
Was it a stuffed possum?
No, it was real.
Oh.
It was in a cage.
Oh, okay.
It's cute.
I don't know why. Because there's also the snake. And
yeah,
all
and
that
she's
other
like,
stuff.
I hate snakes. And I was like, me too, Sadie, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck snakes. I can't.
Nick ends up being a snake.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have them like basically asking each other questions. She's being very cynical, and he's like, you know, basically asking her these personal questions. And then she starts asking him personal questions.
And then she's kind of like she's kind of pushing it.
Yeah,
and she's
like,
flirting
with him a lot. She's putting it on heavy.
Yeah, and then basically he's like, well, I can't like the weird girl from Shadyside because I'm a counselor and she's a camper. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
She was like, my last year, your first year.
Or something like his first year as a counselor, her last year as a camper is what she meant.
Yeah,
but it was like, so I get it, but like technically, yeah,
a
little bad.
I don't even know how old they would be at this point. I don't know, but it's still only I don't know. We're not going to get into logistics of that. But yes, they end up kissing.
Yeah.
Because they're flirting heavy and it's like smoochy time. But also this kind of gives you like insight to maybe Nick isn't necessarily like the worst, even though he is kind of the worst. But like it seems like maybe there's some part of him in there that's like doesn't necessarily maybe want to do all this, but is doing it because of like family, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
and because he was like saying this is a lot of pressure. Like what if I want to read Stephen King novels and like the weird girl from Shadyside kind of thing, and that's like when they kiss, and it gives you hope because like obviously he has a lot in common because where you're from doesn't completely define you like these people are making it seem. It's not like illegal to like someone from the next town over.
Oh yeah, for sure. But they end up kissing. It doesn't last for long though because they hear some screams, and that's whenever everybody finds Jeremy dead. And that's whenever we also see the girls in the tunnel again and their cave system, and they come across that gunky stuff that's on the floor, and
they
it's
hear
like breathing,
like loud noises at first, and they're like, it's like a thudding. And then so they're like walking towards it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'd like walk into the place that has this like loud banging coming from it or like.
But I think also too, all the tunnels led there, like all routes led. So they would have had to like.
They had to
go through that area at some point to get to the other side.
But it just looked like so ominous because there was like blood covered walls, flies. And then as we find out the thudding.
It's giving very Stranger Things.
It gave me very It.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
It's true. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're right. Because
that's what I was thinking that we should cover for Halloween.
What?
It.
Oh, It.
Yeah, like It 1 and 2, like the remake.
Those are good. We could do, and it's a 2-part. Those would be very long.
Those would be
podcasts.
Yeah,
we could find a way to maybe talk about it in a way that's not super long.
Yeah,
but still long. Yeah, are long. But anyways, yeah, it's very It.
Sorry,
because it's,
I remembered
you're
right
good,
now
because it's like a gunk of like. Whatever,
and just like having in this like cave system where there's like this like essentially like a hub of like a living creature, like because like that's where, you know, like Pennywise is. But yes, also Stranger Things, it does give that too. And like we said, there's
like a bunch of other
a
things
lot of
as well.
parallels between Stranger Things and this because
the creator's married to the creator of Stranger Things. And so that's whenever they're like, we don't know what this is, but it's suspicious. And
you can kind of infer it's a heart because it's like going boom boom.
Boom, true that.
But it looks like a brain.
Yeah, it kind of does as well.
Yeah.
But then Alice ends up touching it.
Like, why?
Excuse me.
And it's just, and of course she touched it, just like, and whenever Sam touched the bones in the first one, she gets these flashes of the witch, and then she starts like actually seeing like almost apparitions like right in front of her of these dead ghosts and stuff.
Of all the murders that have happened like so far from
you see people's like eyes gouged out and shit. It was like, ooh. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Most
and
definitely.
She's losing her mind at this point.
She really is.
Because she's everywhere she turns is a different like
dead person basically. So like, yeah, I'd be losing my mind
and then
too.
she ends up looking back at Cindy, and she sees like a dead version of her.
And then she falls.
Yeah, and it's so bad. She ends up like breaking her ankle, like her leg bone like literally protrudes out of the skin.
Yeah, goes straight through, Saw style.
Yeah, and so she's obviously like freaking out. And then at that point, we cut back to the campers. Ziggy and Nick and Gary are back in the mess hall or somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're in the mess hall. And they're trying to count how many people are there.
She's like, they're still missing like 30-something people. Yeah. And so they're like, we're going to go back out there and look. But it's the way like he's telling Ziggy to stay there. And then Gary's like, dude, that's a camper?
Yeah. And he was like, he was like, no, Gary and I will go. And Gary was like,
yeah,
I'm going to what?
Literally.
You just fucking volunteer me for that? And then he's being super like,
affectionate.
I don't want to lose you. Like, you can't. Like, you have to stay here. Blah,
putting
blah.
his hand on his, like, caressing her cheek.
Yeah, and then Gary was like, that's a fucking camper.
Yeah. And so they're going out there, and then that's whenever we also, Ziggy remembers that they left Sheila in the fucking outhouse, because that's whenever it's like her homegirls come up, meet her up, or like, hey, where's Sheila?
Yeah.
And so she's like, fuck. And so she goes out there, and so she's gonna go get after Sheila herself, because I mean, what's his face? Gary and Nick already took off.
They're long gone.
And so then after that, we get
Kurt and Joan
Kurt and Joan are doing it.
Yeah.
And then
she was like, Shadysiders do it better, and I was like, I bet they do it better.
Probably.
For real, because trauma makes everyone better in bed.
And then that's whenever we get a booty shot as well of Kurt.
Mm-hmm. And he scratches it.
Yeah.
Ew.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
And so he goes off. I don't know what he goes to the shower, right?
Yeah,
he goes to the shower. And he literally is just like, if you tell anybody about someone to kill you, I will literally kill you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I believe it. He seems got crazy guy vibes.
I literally, somewhere else in here, I was like, no, Kurt just straight up gives actual serial killer vibes. Like, I would believe him to be because whenever he runs up to Nick and he's like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I was like, I 1000% believe you would actually do this.
I've done it.
You're creepy.
And so as he's in the shower, Joan ends up getting up. She's like walking around. She noticed, I think she hears something or something. The door's open.
Yeah.
And she goes out there trying to check the front, but there's no one there, of course. And
she's straight up like in her underwear with a flannel unbuttoned, but just covering her boobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, girl, you're a counselor.
She's a hippie as well.
That's true. But I'm like, you shouldn't show your boobies to the kids.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Color war too, so there's kids all around. Maybe I don't know. Yeah.
I'm like, I would be nervous that it would be a kid there.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I feel that. No, I'm saying I would too, but I think because of I'm sure she didn't actually give a fuck. She was just smoking pot too.
Yeah.
That's true. And so we have her turning around, and of course it's Tommy. Mm-hmm. And what does he do? He axes her. I think this might be one of the parts where
this
CGI
one was bad.
Or something. Yeah, it was pretty
bad. And Arnie's was bad.
Yeah.
These were the two main ones where I was like, okay.
It didn't look that great.
Yeah. Because I didn't mind Cindy's axing.
There's some other parts. Yeah, that was good.
And then Sadie's all of her stabbing shit, that was sad.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn. I was like, this sequence here was really good. Mm-hmm. I liked that one. But yeah, Joan's death, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And so she's dead. And that was even more confirmation for me. I'm like, okay, only the Shadysiders are getting killed because he didn't do anything to go after what's his face, Kurt.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so at the same time, we have Alice and Cindy having their heart to heart, where Alice is kind of Cindy's kind of coming clean of the situation that had happened whenever she did snitch on Alice, and
all the while placing the bone and bandaging up Alice's leg.
Yeah,
and it's the way that she was talking to her to distract her, and then was like. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
It made my shins hurt so bad.
She gives nurse vibes, caretaker vibes.
Yeah.
And so they end up kind of patching up whatever. We're besties again.
That's where she rips her pretty polo in half.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, hell yeah, girl, come to terms with your reality and tear your pretty polo. Yeah.
And then we have Nick going around telling everybody in the woods, like, hey, the game is over. We have a few kids pop out and they go run away. But then after that, we come up to Tommy just killing more kids. He goes up to one of the cabins where they were like holding some of the prisoners of the color war.
Yeah.
Flag, whatever it's called. I don't know. What's it called?
It was basically capture the flag.
But like they held prisoners. I don't know what it was. But yeah.
Well, I think that's how you play
that
capture the flag.
Oh.
Like if you get them or tag them.
They're out. That's right. So they can't defend the flag.
But then if someone else sneaks in and like untags them, I don't know. That's what happened. Is someone snuck in and untagged the.
I never played that.
Ones from Jeremy's, whenever he was holding them hostage, they like came in and untagged the 3 of them. So, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever actually played it. Either.
I don't play sports, you guys.
Yeah.
How about that?
I
watch movies. And so we have that. And so we have then what's her face getting to the outhouse where Sheila was at, Ziggy, and she goes inside and she's looking for her. And then we have
simultaneously
all this stuff. Cindy and Alice are finding the outhouse from underneath.
They're finding the poo-poo red moss in the cave.
And so they're like, oh my gosh, this leads to the outhouse because this is where I got my shirt stained earlier. And so as they're doing that, Sheila and she starts swinging on what's her face, Ziggy. And that's whenever they get to the altercation. Ziggy ends up knocking Sheila out, right?
Yes, she does. And this was where at this point, after the 3 children were murdered too and stuff, I was like, okay, wait, so what does that make us at? And I was like 6 victims so far. And I knew, well, I thought Ziggy was going to die. Yeah. So I was like, oh shit, she's the last one. But then when Gary's head got chopped off, I was like, oh, okay, there goes that. I said, never mind.
That theory.
Yeah, but,
and so and then back to Gary, because literally he's with her and she's like, we got to get my sister and Alice out from under the outhouse. They're down there, and so they're trying to get her out.
Like, Gary, my sister's in the toilet.
Literally.
And then Gary was like, what? And I was like, no time for questions, Gary, her sister's in the toilet.
And so they get a rope and they lower it down, the rope that had the bucket on that had the bugs that went onto Sheila, and they lower it down. It's way like, I don't even think this rope and bucket would be ever be able to hold in, but okay.
Yeah, I was like, this rope and bucket shouldn't work, but okay.
It's working, and they're pulling it up. But then freaking Tommy comes in and he chops Gary's head off.
Clean off.
Yeah.
It was like
just clean.
And then I don't understand how Gary's whole grown ass body fit down that toilet hole.
I don't either, but he ends up falling down and falls on top of Alice.
And
falls onto her leg. At that. It's hilarious. And I'm like, poor Alice is going through it.
She is.
And so after that, Tommy is after Ziggy. They're running. Nick gets and she ends up getting into, I guess, some cabin or something. Then Nick is in there, and that's whenever they're talking about it, and she's like, it's Tommy, and he's like, oh my god, he snapped, and she's like, no, it's the witch, and he's like, I don't believe in that. And she's like, I thought you were different. He's like, I am different.
And then they were also saying like something about starting a book club or something. He's like,
right.
Maybe I want to start like a Stephen King book club. And then she was like, well, now I'm like all for Judy Blume or something is what she said, which that comes into play later.
It does. The Judy Blume book club.
I love Judy Blume.
And so
the snake gets loose.
The snake gets loose. We have him basically taking one for the team and jumping in front of the Tommy and pushing her out of the way, and he gets chopped on the leg.
His leg got axed.
And so then we have her running out to go try to catch the bus, but she misses the bus because it leaves, because some of the students got to get on the bus to leave. And after that, we find out that Alice is near Satan's Stone because she has that book.
And at this point, Cindy's left because according to the map they found, or like with everything, it said that Sarah would often appear like towards
the mess hall,
the meeting house.
Meeting house, that's right.
Yeah, which is the mess hall. And so so she's heading off towards the mess hall, and then that's when blood starts dripping onto Alice, and she's like, when she is near, blood will fall. And I was like, okay, she's just conveniently sitting right on Satan's Stone. Okay. It's called Satan's Stone because everyone shit on it.
Probably
that it would smell so bad of the devil.
And so we have her then realizing that she's next to it, and she is digging, and she doesn't have to dig too much because she finds what's her face's hand,
like
right
3 inches under some moss.
Oh, but you know what? Right before that, we do have an altercation with Ziggy fighting Tommy because they're in the mess hall, the kitchen area or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and
I mean, well, she did find the hand then. She
Okay.
hasn't brought it out yet, but we just kind of assumed that
That's
she was
right.
digging.
That's right.
But yeah, they go back and like Cindy's made it to the mess hall now. I was worried she was like Ziggy was gonna get axed on top of her on that grate, like that Cindy couldn't get out and she couldn't help, and then
she would
Ziggy
just see her die.
Yeah, like right on top of her, and the blood would drip through. That's what I thought would be
your
cool.
mind, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Brutal. And so we have her then getting to this mess hall. She turns on the music really loud so that way the dude can't like hear her. Basically, can't hear her or like moving around and stuff. And Ziggy's hiding. We have him then finding her, and she ends up putting the potato sack over his head in an altercation because that's how we saw in the first movie that the Nightwing killer looked. And then
I liked the way that came like about.
Yeah, same.
Because she was trying to stab him, but then the music stopped, and so she was fighting for her life, and she just pulled something off the mess hall pantry shelf.
Ziggy's had a lot of fight in her. And then we have Cindy stabbing Tommy. Yep. She comes up, gives him a good stabbo,
and over again.
Yeah.
And then she curses.
And that's right.
All Ziggy was like, "You swore."
And she's like, "Yeah." We're just like, "That's something."
It's becoming a habit or something.
That's right.
Because Tommy had mentioned it a few times at the beginning. And it's like, I don't know if that was the first thing I would say after I almost died, but okay.
And we have Ziggy and Cindy being reunited. It's kind of like a nice moment between the sisters. They're kind of making up.
I thought he was going to pop up right there. I was like, not the time for a sweet reunion. Get out.
But then Alice comes back up, and she's like, I found the hand. And so they're all kind of talking about the hand and what they need to do to fix it. They realize.
And I like the way she came up when she said 3 guesses.
3 guesses.
Because that was like kind of
her running theme.
Yeah.
And they end up talking about how they need to connect the hand to the body. And then Ziggy touches the hand and ends up bleeding on it, right?
Yeah, because her nose bleeds. Like her nose starts bleeding as well, like it did to Sam and stuff. And so, that was how it connected her again, I suppose. And we got the flashes and stuff from her as well.
Yeah, of her she saw the witch, basically. She gets visions.
The whole time I'm just typing, when is the dope little boy going to show up? Because he was on the cover, like the thumbnail photo, the little one with the like...
The bat?
Yeah.
He'll come up.
Yay!
In the third one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when is he going to show up? Because he was like on for the cover of Fear Street in 78. He was like the thumbnail on my Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, I thought he was going to have a bigger part. I was like, when is he going to get here? I'm excited
for him. I'm sorry. No, he comes up in the second half of the third one.
He is a little bit in this one. He walks up to them at least. And that was the like one shot that he was in. That was the cover.
On the field.
Yeah. And so at one point I'm finally like, yay, little boy.
But, and so
okay,
she
cool.
saw
I'm
the
excited
witch.
To see him.
The witch is reactivated, and the gunk is creating more spawn.
They're more birth to monsters.
Out. Yep. And so they're gonna try to bury the hand with the body, or connect it anyways.
And this is when Alice brought up way too much baggage.
Yeah.
And because if they wouldn't have sat there and talked about that shit,
it could have gone and it would have been out already. But she's of course giving her little spiel of just like
when
this is my moment. I've been waiting for this. My life has been shitty. But you know what? I'm going to make it great now. And then what happens? She gets fucking killed.
Get axed.
Axed,
literally.
And
I was like, girl, okay.
Poor way to go out. Yeah. Because then she just bleeds out. It's not even immediate.
Oh, and it was the way all of them said for Shadyside. And I was like, ew, no.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they give their little hoorah and she gets killed. I put like, damn, Alice got wrecked.
And CB goes fucking ham.
Yeah, and cuts off Thomas's head.
With the fucking shovel.
Yeah.
And she's just like, fuck yeah. Like she's like yelling
She's
at
saying
him.
Die, or something like that. Why won't you die?
Like,
yeah. This is her like 100%.
Yeah, I liked her in that moment.
Or 180, I guess I should say. But yeah, she cuts his head off. And then we hear a familiar tune. Hear a fucking Ruby Lane song.
You always kill the ones you love or hurt.
Which is perfectly...
you don't always kill them.
I don't know. Tied in very well, I guess. And so...
She looked pretty creepy when she came up, though.
Yeah.
Whenever her little head was like... I was like, ooh, she's not
the
fully
actress.
Formed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very like robotic almost. Yeah, like that. And so they end up going to dig for the body, but ooh, plot twist. Someone moved the body. The body is not where they thought it would have been.
And it was a rock that was there, and it says like the witch will live forever or some shit.
Sarah Fear will live forever.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I guess someone.
So basically, they're both screwed.
They also didn't dig very far for this as well. And I was like,
true.
it was like barely anything.
And
I was like,
you know,
okay.
bodies are supposed to be like 6 feet deep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then yay! I was like, oh yeah, little boy's here. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Yay!
She ends up showing up because then all the like killers are after them. And we have both the sisters and running, and then Cindy's telling Ziggy, get ready to run.
Because they're after you. Like
Yeah.
you bled on the hand.
bones, yeah.
So they're after you. But no, they were after both.
Both of them, essentially. And so anyways.
It's a good little lie to tell her sister to run.
She's, and freaking Cindy starts getting like butchered, basically. She gets knocked to the floor. She's getting stabbed, but then they end up catching Ziggy anyways, and they start stabbing her, and they end up dying right next to each other.
It was the
Essentially,
milkman dude who killed her or was stabbing her.
yeah,
and
true.
yeah, they were like, it looked like they were much further apart
when they were running, but like when they were on the floor to get next to each other, they were like,
yeah, their hands were like maybe 2 feet of distance in between.
Like that,
yeah. And that was when they were, as they were dying, they were like, just put LOL, nothing will pull us apart ever again. And I was like,
ever, except this death.
I was like, y'all dying.
Literally.
So.
For real. Oh,
I'm just kidding. They're
poor
apparently
sisters.
traveling souls,
Yeah.
though. So.
But and that's whenever we come out of it, and that's whenever we realize that, as C. Berman has been telling the story, she's like, my sister died, and so did I. And we figure out that Ziggy is C. Berman, the girl that they're talking to,
because she's telling them about like how Nick Good came up, gave her, resuscitated her, and I was
Saved
like, at that point, that's the one I was like, wait, what? And because I was like, why are you even trying, dude? Like she's pretty dead, but I guess not. And then
got her to wake up.
They're locking her in the what's it called? Ambulance.
The paddy wagon.
And he was like, Chris.
Yeah, the ambulance.
He was like, Christine
and they're asking
Berman
what her name
is her real name,
because she's like Cindy at first, and he's like, no, her name's Christine.
Oh, she says Ziggy.
Oh, I thought she said, oh, okay.
Yeah, she said Ziggy, and then he was like, her real name's Christine.
Christine Berman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see that Cindy's dead.
Then, and I was like, well, that makes so much more sense, because
Yeah.
Cindy would not have survived those. Like, she was like, God, her chest had to have just been, I mean, you could
Chopped
probably see the
liver.
grass through it.
Yeah.
With how many times. It was at least like 14 just
Poor girl.
axe
That's
blows
brutal.
to the chest.
Yeah. Probably really painful.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so we have all of that happening. That's basically the culmination of everything that happened at Camp Nightwing in 1978. And that's
we find
whenever
out Nick didn't believe her.
Nick didn't believe her.
Dickhead.
He had a destiny for Sunnyvale, and she basically just became this recluse that nobody believed, because she tried to tell people about her story, but nobody wanted to believe her.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And
it was just much easier to pin it on Tommy.
Yeah, definitely.
Which Nick basically did. And so we then get them still basically thinking like, okay, well, we still can connect the body and the hand, because we know now that the body, because they found it earlier in 1994, is on off the side of the road by the kissing rock, and that the sexy rock, whatever. And so then we have them. Oh yeah, and so since the sisters had the hand at the tree because they were trying to find the body, we know that the hand is now where that tree is, which is
slipped into the hole.
Now at the Shadyside Mall.
Middle of the Shadyside Mall. They built the mall over it, and I'm like, why would y'all leave the hanging tree up? That feels very problematic.
It really does. Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess it was 78.
So yeah.
Yeah,
but still, didn't care. I don't even know.
That's still pretty late, but.
Yeah, from 66, and then like it still feel like people would think like maybe that's not appropriate, but nah. That's a part of their history though. They were like kind of like proud of it, I guess, in a way. I don't know.
That would have been the first thing I'd cut down.
And so yeah, we find out that the hand is underneath the tree at the mall.
Yep.
And that's whenever we have her talking
CB's calling the
that's
place
right.
and saying, hey, can basically they call in Nick Good, and they're like, hey, someone's saying that she was in the Judy Blume book club with you. Like,
that's right.
Do you want me to, like, what? And he was like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
I know that. And then at this point I was like, about time you show up, you piece of shit.
And then we have Dina's nose is bleeding again, and she Why is her nose bleeding?
Because they're about to get to the bones.
Oh, that's right.
She's saying like telling her brother to stay in the car, and this is again where I was like, how did her acting get worse in this movie? But her nose starts bleeding, and he's like, your nose, and she's like, oh.
That's okay. Yeah, and then she goes down there. That's right, and she starts to connect it to her hand and her bones together.
And she says, I got you, you witch.
And that's whenever she gets like a
and you go,
vision.
oh fuck, she's Sarah.
Yeah, and then she's like trading places basically.
Because you see
bodies.
she's like washing her hands in like a tub, like a tub, but her hands are covered in blood, and you see the reflection, and it's like
Sarah's face.
Yeah,
and then we get it to be continued. Yeah,
and I was like, okay, that was a pretty good little ending right there. So I'm excited to see the next one. But yeah, so overall, that's when did these Fear Streets come out?
Last year.
Okay, 2021. But this is 1978 Fear Street Part 2. So how many boos?
I would give it I'm trying to remember. The first one I gave a 4.5.
That's right. Oh my god.
My bad. So this one I will give just a 4.
A 4?
A 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I'm not going to judge you.
No. I think I might just give it a 4.5 as well.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 as well.
It.
I like it as well. I thought it was a pretty good story. I liked how it goes back into like kind of like another layer of just murders and an event that was actually mentioned in the first one. So it's like it gets called back to, which happens again in the third one, which we get called back to another incident that happened that was mentioned earlier in the first movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just
all the
really,
callbacks. It's well
thought
thought
out. I like
out.
that. Yeah, it's
a story.
Building like a whole world basically.
Solid story. Yeah.
And I thought I actually liked kind of all the characters, and I liked the sisters dynamic, and I
did like them together.
I honestly did like Alice's character for like
it's
what
not
it
that I don't
played
think
in like in the movie.
That I don't like her. I think I just was like really kind of annoyed with how
The portrayal.
No, just how emotional everyone was being. And I'm like, you literally do not have time to be rehashing like all of your little emotions right now.
But I think that's also like how we talked about in the first movie where we were like they started fucking and then or like almost fucking.
True.
And then we were like we don't have time for this. But I'm like it might be the last time you do it.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd like need to like rehash my whole life. I would just be more concerned about getting out. And if I die, I die. But like I'm not gonna sit there and like waste time.
Yeah.
Now my sibling, yes, I would have made time to make up with them. But I also would have been like, let's do this shit on the move.
Yeah.
So. Or I would have hit
That's
up in a
because
tree
Caitlin's
really
gonna
high.
survive.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not going to get axed.
Yeah, like not like Alice. But I think, yeah, for those reasons and for those reasons alone, I will give it 4.5.
Love it.
Yes.
Cool.
What about you? 2.
No.
1.8.
What did I give the other one? A 3.5?
A 3.5, yes.
Okay. I did definitely like this one less. Actually, I don't know. I liked like the overall storyline of this one, I think, better. And I liked the characters in this one better.
I liked it too because they weren't like going everywhere. It was just all at the camp.
Yeah.
The first movie, they were like at the hospital. They were at the mall. They were at the school.
Yeah.
They were at someone's house at some point. Two people's houses. Yeah. It's a lot.
I think I do like the characters better in this one. And I do like the camp setting. I like that. Always love me a good camp setting.
Yeah.
That's nice. But overall, the graphics, in my opinion, were not as good.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
Some of the acting was lacking for me. Like, I think maybe it just happened because, like, I really believed a lot of Dina's performance in the first one. And so to see it go from, like, her pretty doing really well and, like, crushing a role to, like,
It's really let you down.
Yeah, because I was like, oh. I think that just kind of annoyed, like, I was like, oh.
It kind of set the tone for the rest of the movie for you.
Yeah, so maybe I just like kind of went in with the bias. So I don't know. I think I'd probably give this one. I'm trying to decide between like a 2 point because I liked the story was overall good. I'll give it a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, and I'm like I said, I am excited to go watch this next one. Like the little clip at the end, I was like, ooh, what is it? I'm excited.
The third one, I think, still holds up as being the best one to me.
I love me some good, like, old time witch shit. Like, I mean, I love The Witch. So.
It's like a half that, and then half bringing you back to finishing out. What I didn't realize what I forgot was that actually the third movie is kind of two movies in one. It is 1666, but then also it ends kind of with like an hour left, and then it cuts to 1994 part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which we can all still cover in that one because it kind of goes together.
Is this like a 3-hour-long movie?
No.
Okay.
It's only an hour and 50. Yeah.
So same time length. Okay. I was like, fuck.
But yeah. So it's going to be funny when we go back to that because we're like going to be talking about, okay, 1666, but also / 1994 part 2. Yeah.
And maybe my overall appreciation for them will go up too once I've seen all of it and I see the whole like nice little bow.
Because the third one, you get the foundation, the beginning of everything. So it's like, this all makes sense. This is all threaded.
I want to see more. That milkman guy was creepy looking. He looked...
you won't get milkman guy.
That's sad.
Sorry.
Because the way like he looked was really creepy. And then
like, I mean, you don't get like a story of
Little
him.
Boy.
No.
Little Boy's my
favorite. You get a different monster in the third one. Or not monster per se, but possessed person.
I just want to see that Little Boy fuck some shit up. I really did like Bram Stoker's A Boy. I thought that was a great movie.
I don't think I watched it.
Oh, that's pretty good. We should cover that one at some point. It's good. I like it. In my opinion.
Any other thoughts for the movie?
Oh, yeah. Sadie Sink killed it.
Yeah.
Her acting was phenomenal, literally the entire time. She sold that character. She did a great job.
She held up most of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And overall, I mean, I do think I enjoyed it. And I like, again, it's not like I would watch this and then be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I've gotten this far. I have to know what the fuck is happening. Like, I have to know. So, again, like, I've watched trash television and all of them because I'm like, well, at this point, I just need to know what's happening.
It's like
it's curiosity. Kills
and
a cat.
I think too, this is kind of built like it's like a series movie show in a way.
Yeah. It's a fun, I do like the setup a lot. I think the whole idea of the 3 and then them coming out.
Because it's basically essentially like almost 5-hour long movie, but it's just is broken up into like 3 pieces.
And you're not having to wait 2 years in between.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is kind of nice that it's like, oh, you only have to wait. You know, what you said, they were released like maybe every 2 weeks.
I think they were released like 3 weeks apart or like almost a month apart.
Yeah, that's that's not that bad. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so a 4.5
and a 3.
3.
So, yeah, somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, 3.75.
There you go.
I don't know math.
Me either. It's okay.
But as always,
we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
They take great care of us, and
they do.
You can listen to us and any of all the other amazing podcasts on here.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
That's right. Or on a slew of other podcasting platforms.
Like Apple Podcasts.
And Spotify.
Spoofy.
That's right. Spoofy.
And, oh, no, you set it up.
Okay. Wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, and subscribe.
That's
and
right.
like.
And because all the new ratings have been so sweet. And apparently, like, I mean, we've had a lot of people, like, you know, not a lot of people. We've had, you know, some people being in constant contact. Not constant, but, you know, regular contact with us.
For sure.
And so it was cool I assumed some of those new reviews were from them. But, you know, if you listen on Spotify, you can only, like, give 5 stars, which that's so easy to do.
Please give us the stars.
Please give us some stars.
5 it up.
But, then, so it's really sweet every time.
It really is.
And it's nice knowing
we appreciate it.
All the people who left us a review, we really appreciate it. So, but if you want to tell us your favorite movies or, you know, reach out to us or ask us, you know, to cover your favorite film, you can do that on our one social media platform, which is Instagram at
BooBaes Podcast. And that's BOOBOES.
Nope.
Wait, BAES.
Bows.
BooBaes. I'm sorry. Take 2. That is BOOBAES because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right.
Sorry, you guys.
I loved it.
I loved your immediate nope. That's not it. But if you made it this far, then hopefully you know where you're listening to us and where you can find us. And thanks for listening, you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye,
Bye, Raze.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Are you struggling to lose weight and keep it off? Tired of wasting time and money on starvation diets that lead to more frustration and stress? If there was a weight loss solution that could actually work for you, would you try it? Then head to Golo.com.
I'm Steve. I lost 138 pounds in 9 months on Golo.
I'm Amber. I've lost 128 pounds with Golo taking release.
If you're ready to take back control of your life, head to Golo.com now and see how Golo can work for you. That's GOLO.com.
My sleep is way better. My inflammation has gone way down. Golo saved my life. I was way overweight. That's what sent me down the path. I wanted to make sure and live for my kid.
I have literally tried everything. I was on the verge of getting gastric bypass surgery, and I saw the Golo commercial, and it was the last thing I tried because it worked.
Join over 2 million people who have found a better way to lose weight with Golo. Your healthier and happier life begins at Golo.com. That's GOLO.com. Again, GOLO.com.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support and a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.